What's going on, Headliner Nation? Kyle back with the Fantasy Headliners, and I've got my top 30 wide receivers for week 3 of the NFL season. We're going to make this quick and dirty, so let's start jumping into all of the rankings right away, starting at 30 and working our way back. At number 30, Anthony Miller from the Chicago Bears. Did he have a stinker last week? Yes, he did. Absolutely. Awful game last week. But people need to take a little bit deeper look and see why he had a bad game. Why did he have a bad game? Because the Chicago Bears, when they're running in a positive game script, only keep 2 wide receivers on the field. Anthony Miller runs all of his snaps out of the slot, so he doesn't go to the outside. Mooney did. So because of that, Anthony Miller didn't see a whole lot last week. However, this week against Atlanta, positive game script is probably going to be few and far between. And for the Atlanta Falcons, Darqueze Dennard, slot corner for them, has allowed 16 receptions on 20 attempts this season for 160 yards. That's the most yards that any slot corner has given up in the entire NFL. Expect Anthony Miller to bounce back again this week, especially in PPR leagues. CeeDee Lamb at number 29. Love CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's playing all of his snaps out of the slot, really looking like he's taking over as that number 2 target there. Michael Gallup has kind of been silent the first couple of weeks. Cooper's still getting his looks. CeeDee Lamb is starting to get more and more looks. Could have a good week this week. T.Y. Hilton at number 28. They're going to need him to step up. No Paris Campbell anymore. They're going to need him to really be that number 1. He's not going to have a choice. He's going to have to get out there and get ready to roll. Julian Edelman at number 27. He's the main guy there. Lots and lots of volume right now from Cam Newton. Are we going to see a lot of that volume this week? Yeah, more than likely we'll still see a decent amount of volume this week. I do think Edelman's ceiling is a little bit capped, though, because if teams start to fully converge on him and really try to take him away, then who else is Cam Newton going to go to? No one really has stepped up as of yet. Julian Edelman going up against Las Vegas this week. Las Vegas did a pretty good job this past week, except for Traquan Smith. Everyone else was kind of held down. And if you look at like Emmanuel Sanders, who would be the biggest connection in terms of what do Julian Edelman and Emmanuel Sanders do in their respective offenses, those two are the most similar. Julian Edelman could have himself a tough week. Darius Slayton at number 26. Darius Slayton could be in for a huge week this week, going up against a San Francisco team that is without Richard Sherman, without Bosa, without Solomon. Okay, lots and lots of opportunities for Darius Slayton to have a big game. That pass rush is not going to be as huge as it's been in the past. They are not going to be able to get the same amount of pressure as they have been able to in the past. Darius Slayton can outrun the other corners that are on this team. Expect Danny Dimes to drop a couple dimes right to Darius Slayton this week for some big plays. He's definitely within my top 30 this week. At number 25, Keelan Cole could be in for a big, big game here in week 3 on Thursday Night Football. There's no DJ Chark. Just finding out a couple of hours ago, DJ Chark done for tonight. He will not be in the lineup. He is out. Keelan Cole has had the most targets so far in this game. And if you follow us, you heard me talk about Keelan Cole quite a bit last year before the season kicked off, because at the end of 2018, he was the guy that was really kind of looking as if 2019 would be a breakout year for him. It just didn't happen, but him and Minshew have been connecting really well so far. Miami's defense, especially without Byron Jones, is going to be hurting. Definitely a lot of back and forth. At number 24, Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a sit for me, but it depends on who you have in front of him. Why is he a sit for me? Because I don't know if he gets those 10 points that we need to consider him a start. I am worried about his matchup this week on the outside. I am worried about that matchup. So I'm going to be cautious with Robert Woods going up against Buffalo and Tre'Davious White on the outside. Yes, they move Robert Woods around and try to do a lot with him, but last week, you saw it last week, had a little bit of difficulty. Are they going to be able to get him going? We'll talk about the other guys in this offense, including Cooper Kupp, as we go along. But Robert Woods, the ceiling for him this year or for this week is really low, and the floor is really low as well. That's why I have him as a start, or a sit, but I still have him over some of these other guys, because if you don't own some of these other guys and you have Robert Woods, and Robert Woods has been your 1 or 2, and you really don't have anybody else listed here to play above him, then roll with Robert Woods. So just make sure that you temper your expectations. Devontae Parker at number 23. He was originally a sit for me this week. However, we're finding out that he's not limited with a hamstring on Thursday night. So I'm going to put him in at number 23. Just keep in mind, first couple of weeks of the season, during the game, that hamstring tightens up a little bit. He's got to come off the field. He's been scoring those touchdowns, still getting a decent amount of volume. I'm just worried that if he has to come off the field for any reason, or if Miami's able to really put it on Jacksonville early, that they switch more to the running game. So a little bit of a lower ceiling for him this week, but I'm moving him back to a start now, knowing that the hamstring injury is not popping up on the injury report. Deontay Johnson at 22, you can't say anything more about the kid, right? Having a great season so far, up there in terms of targets. The Steelers' offense is running. Deontay Johnson is really that outside threat. Juju working really well in the slot. They're running the ball really well right now. Deontay Johnson continues to be a good start every single week. Stephon Diggs at number 21. I'm not sitting him this week, and I'm not going to put him that much lower. I know he's got Jalen Ramsey, but Stephon Diggs is such a special talent. I'm not sitting him this week. Is the ceiling a little bit lower? Yeah, possibly. But I'm going to roll with Stephon Diggs still because of this matchup and because of, not really the matchup, but because of the Bills being superior in this matchup, in my opinion. I think the Bills are going to get a win against the Rams this week, and I think Stephon Diggs is going to have a decent game to do that. DJ Moore at number 20. DJ Moore. I know a lot of people are a little bit concerned about him right now. Don't be. Everything's going to end up being fine, even without Christian McCaffrey. The offense is still trying to kind of get going a little bit. Robbie Anderson is a guy, right? Robbie Anderson is a guy that's having a good season so far. I've got Moore and Anderson as starts this week. I just have their ceilings a little bit lower. Going up against a Los Angeles Chargers defense that really took care of business against KC last week. KC barely squeaked out a win there. But LAC has looked really, really good this season so far. DJ Moore, a little bit lower of a ceiling for me. Marquise Brown at number 19 going up against Kansas City. Monday Night Football, huge matchup. Expect Marquise Brown to have himself a pretty decent game. Last week, Kansas City had a little bit of an issue controlling Keenan Allen. Okay, Keenan Allen was moving around a little bit. Can they do the same thing this week with Marquise Brown? Move him around a little bit, not just necessarily run him on those deep routes on the outside, but do what they can to get him open in space. Number 18, Kenny Golladay. We've been waiting for him, right? You've been waiting for him. You play him. If you have him on your team, I'm putting him out there this week unless you have far superior options behind him. Yeah, the matchup isn't great. Probably getting Patrick Peterson. This defense in Arizona playing a lot better this year. Kenny Golladay, though, all right, he's had 2 weeks to get himself healthy. This is a matchup where, hey, if he wasn't feeling good, they're not going to run him back out there. I'm believing, based on everything I've said, he is going to be out there and he's going to be ready to roll. So I will roll with Kenny Golladay this week. Keenan Allen at number 17, just talked about him a second ago, getting Carolina this week. Justin Herbert back out there again. I like Keenan Allen this week, and just a little bit lower just because I expect that ceiling to be a little bit lower. Also, I expect them to really pound the football this week. So it's really going to take a touchdown or a really high volume situation for Keenan Allen to go any higher. So I like his floor. I think he has a really safe floor this week. I think that ceiling is just a little bit lower than normal. Cooper Kupp at number 16. I've been getting a lot of questions about Cooper Kupp. A lot of people are worried about Cooper Kupp right now. Don't be. Okay, I talked about this in my tight end video last week. Van Jefferson is playing well. Gerald Everett is not. The hope was to start the season that they would run more 12 personnel, putting Kupp and Woods on the outside, putting your tight ends on the lines, or maybe throwing one in the slot, whatever it may be, but doing 2 tight end sets a little bit more often, and then your running back. However, Van Jefferson's been playing so well, and Everett has been dealing with a back issue, that they've moved out of that. They've got 3 wide receivers on the field again. That allows Cooper Kupp to get back into the slot. We are continuing to play Cooper Kupp. I am worried this week about Robert Woods, but Cooper Kupp being in the slot gives him a little bit more of a favorable matchup, and I would not doubt it if we see a lot of Kupp and a lot of Higbee this week. That's why I've got Woods a lot lower, because I think these two are going to have a really good week. OBJ at number 15 bounces back, has a great week last week. The key to victory for the Browns and the key to a good matchup for the offense is, what is it, ladies and gentlemen? I talk about it a lot. It's the option. Not only the option, it's the play action. Okay? That's what we need to do there in Cleveland. All right? Maybe some RPOs with Baker Mayfield. If they can institute that a little bit more. Some play action where Baker Mayfield is rolling out, throwing the ball on the run. They started doing that more and more last week. If you watched the game last week, Baker Mayfield was very successful when he was rolling out of the pocket. That's what we need to be doing. That's what will make this offense successful. That's what will make Baker Mayfield successful. And they're going to have to do it this week. Why? Because that defensive front for Washington is really, really good. Get them outside, get them away from that pass rush, give guys a chance to get open. And that's where Cleveland would find their success this week. At number 14, Mike Evans, down a little bit lower this week just because it sounds like Chris Godwin is back and ready to roll. With Mike Evans, just keeping that ceiling a little bit down, right? We talked about how any given week with Tampa Bay moving forward, it could be Evans one week, it could be Godwin another week, it could be O.J. Howard, it could be Scotty Miller. I mean, it just depends. Tom Brady's going to look for the open guy. Whoever the defense isn't covering the most, Tom Brady's going to find him. Mike Evans just a little bit lower just because really it's going to be a coin flip every single week. Tyler Lockett at number 13. DK Metcalf right above him at 11. Going up against Dallas. Expect a decently high-scoring game here. Expect these teams to really go back and forth. And honestly, when you have the leading MVP throwing the ball to you, any week is a good week. Lockett at 13, DK Metcalf at 11. Juju at number 12 continues to perform extremely well. It's nice to see him back to being the Juju of old. Going up against Houston this week, definitely an opportunity for him to eat over the middle of the field. Already talked about DK Metcalf. At number 10, Chris Godwin. Getting back from that concussion, ready to roll this week. I still think he's going to be the volume guy for Tom Brady. He still presents the highest upside to me on this team. Highest upside, lowest floor. Terry McLaurin coming in at number 9. I like Terry McLaurin this week against Cleveland. Okay, I'm ready to see it happen. Last week, Cleveland kind of lucked out a little bit against the Bengals in terms of some big plays because Burrow and AJ Green just weren't on the same page, just barely missing. If Burrow would have been able to hit AJ Green just a little bit more, we might see a little bit of a different game last week. This secondary, I still don't know what we're getting this week. We got to keep an eye on it. The secondary, they could have some weapons back. There's still some people that are questionable. There's still a chance that some of these guys aren't going to play full snap loads if they do play. I don't know that yet. I'm trying to continue to monitor it, and I will let you know as the week goes on. But right now, for me, Terry McLaurin, I like him this week. Amari Cooper at number 8. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's getting a lot of looks. Zeke's getting looks. Dalton Schultz is getting looks. Michael Gallup's getting looks. And it still ceases to amaze me that Dak Prescott is going Amari Cooper's way, and nobody wants to admit it. Okay, we gotta keep looking at Amari Cooper. I've gotten a few messages from people about, should I trade Amari Cooper? No, he's eating right now. Touchdowns will come. Touchdowns come. When they come, he's going to continue to stay right in this wide receiver 1 range. We could see those touchdowns this week going up against Seattle. Adam Thielen at number 7. Just continue to keep an eye on the Adam Thielen situation. All right. Yeah, I missed the call in week 1. Technically missed the call in week 2 as well. But what I thought was going to happen in week 1 happened in week 2. And what I thought was going to happen in week 2 happened in week 1. So here we stand, not really knowing what's going to happen with Adam Thielen moving forward. Just keep in mind those concerns that I've talked about and continue to monitor that situation. For me, though, Tennessee is probably going to be able to come in, or not come in, but Minnesota's going to go into Tennessee. Tennessee's going to give them a run for their money, especially with how that offense has played so far. They're probably going to have to throw the ball quite a bit, and when they do, Adam Thielen's going to be the main beneficiary of those targets. Julio Jones at number 6. This is another one to keep an eye on. If Julio Jones plays this week, is he limited? For me personally, unless I have a guy that has a much higher ceiling than Julio Jones, I'm still going to play Julio Jones. Why is that? If Julio Jones is on the field, do we really want to sit him? Me? No. I would rather put Julio Jones out there and lose with him in my lineup because he didn't have a good game than set Julio Jones on my bench and lose with him on the bench because I didn't play Julio Jones and I talked myself out of it. I'm going to have him out there again this week. Even if he is limited, we'll continue to eye it though, okay? If he has any issues, if it sounds like he's not going to play at all, Russell Gage gets a huge bump. He's going to come way up into the top 30, and then Calvin Ridley's probably going to stay about where he is right now. Devontae Adams at number 5. Devontae Adams, a little bit of a hamstring scare this week. Sounds like he's going to be good to go, though. Tyreek Hill, life, death, taxes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, all right? That's what we say. Tyreek Hill, if you own him, he's in your lineup, high upside every single week. Patrick Mahomes continues to find him, even if he does give you the sweats a little bit to begin the game because maybe that first quarter or second quarter, Hill isn't really getting what he needs to. Calvin Ridley at number 3. Is he the true wide receiver 1 in Atlanta? No, I'm not ready to say that yet, but he's playing like the number 1 overall wide receiver, so he's in our lineup. Lots of upside this week. Even if Julio plays, again, if he is hampered a little bit, even though Julio Jones could have a good game, Calvin Ridley still could have that much bigger of a game. Allen Robinson at number 2. This might be super high for some of you, and you might be like, whoa, Kyle, what are you doing? Going up against Atlanta, who can't stop anybody. We're starting Allen Robinson this week. They're giving up over 46 points per game to opposing wide receivers, 5th most in the league. We saw it last week, all right? Atlanta blows that lead. Dallas throws all over them. Chicago, even with Mitchell Trubisky being the quarterback, which, I don't know, it's an imposter, right? Okay, somebody's wearing a mask of Mitchell Trubisky. That's a much better quarterback and playing for the Bears right now, aren't they? I don't know. But for me, I'm still rolling Allen Robinson out there because if he doesn't have a huge game this week, then I don't know what we're going to be waiting for because this is the perfect opportunity. And of course, the target hog, DeAndre Hopkins, up at number 1. You got him, you put him in there, and you leave him there because he is looking good so far in that offense. There you go, Headliner Nation. My top 30 wide receivers for week 3 of the NFL season. Keep in mind, if anything changes, guys declared out, whatever it may be, people limited, we'll keep you updated here throughout the rest of the week. Do me a favor if you appreciate that content, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Become a part of Headliner Nation today. That's right, over 100,000 strong right now. So hop in to this community, stick around and check out the rest of our content. And as always, feel free to leave any questions down below in the comments, and I'll try to get to as many as I can. Headliner Nation, appreciate you all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.